Hello everyone, Chris here. In today's video I will rank every single DPS character based on how good they are in mid-season 6 of Overwatch 2. Let's get started. And we'll start our list with Echo, and I would place her in the C tier. She is very difficult to utilize and 99% of the player base will never ever be able to pick her up, as well as the fact that we are in a poke meta where you have Bastion, you have Soldier, you have Illari, Baptistes present, and all of these characters are directly countering you. You'll have less space to play, you overcommit, you're gonna die in a second, and overall, character is just not for everyone and very niche. Bastion, on the other hand, goes in an absolute S tier, and I understand that many people have no idea how to utilize him properly, and thus they think that character is terrible. They don't have aim, they don't have enough understanding of the game, while in reality this is the strongest DPS to rank up, this is the strongest DPS to touch the mid-season 6 of Overwatch as of right now. There is no one like Bastion in terms of killing tanks, there is no one like Bastion in terms of destroying squishes, even if they are being pocketed. Tracer goes in a low B tier category as you just lack options against the poke meta that we are currently in. Illari has a very nice 1 versus 1 duel against you, as if she would land one shot on you, the second one is going to be deadly, and there is no way to kill the backline because they always have the they always have the pylon to back them up, and then if they would run Ana Life Weaver, that's unkillable. If they would go Mercy Kiriko, that's unkillable. If they would go pretty much any other combination, you are completely useless. Widowmaker goes in the top of the A tier. I feel like she is still incredibly oppressive. Even with the recent nerfs to her damage range, you can still be super duper annoying to the enemy backline. You can still 2-tap squishes, your headshot is still as strong as it was before, and there are maps where the game is decided whether you have a Widow player or the enemy team have a Widow player, and the team who does usually wins. Genji goes in the low A category simply because he's just way too strong versus Bastion. You have to understand that your deflect, especially the higher you climb, is going to fall off in terms of your value that it brings, but in reality, when Bastion presses his turret form and you deflect, Jesus Christ, you are exchanging a very low value ability from one of the best non-ultimate DPS abilities in the game, pretty much for free, and this is such a nice trade for you. You can farm your ultimate and go for nano blades, and character is just really nice, especially if you pair Genji up with Doomfist, and I feel like the only great answer that you can have against that is going to be Sombra, and not too many players will know how to play against you and how to communicate with their team, so this combination is pretty deadly. Soldier goes at the top of the A tier category for me today, as you have a very stable and reliable source of damage that other DPS will never have. You are crazy strong on the flank, you are pretty nice and self-sustained with your healing pod, and you can be annoying to the enemy team by shooting them in the ear. It's very nice that you can use your ultimate with a combination of Nano, Window, or Kitsune Rush and get insane amounts of value. Character is pretty easy, but at the same time pretty difficult in some cases, but yeah, top of the A tier for sure. Sombra is a B tier character with the potential to rise up to S when you are playing against Ball, when you are playing against Doomfist, when you are playing against Genji, as you are completely countering them if you know what you are doing. It feels like every single dive character in today's day and age is just suffering tremendously against Illari, suffering tremendously against Baptiste, as you just never have the opportunity to outburst insane amounts of healing that they provide. And your value is not quite there. Your EMP got nerfed, and overall Sombra is just a very niche pick in today's day and age. Ashe is going to be another great choice in the current state of the game. I feel like she's a little bit lower than Soldier, as his damage output is a lot more reliable, and it feels like Ashe is just really harder to utilize, but every single ability of yours is super nice, and you can actually feel the reload buff with mid-season patch, and your ultimate is nice, your dynamite is great if you can land it onto a few players, and like the amount of affection you have when you double tap someone is just unmatched. Junkrat is a D tier character. I don't know, very bad duels against every single meta character right now. Really bad versus Doomfist, really bad versus Orisa, really bad versus Illari, Baptiste, and just getting completely outpoked if your teammates know what they are doing. It's not difficult to flank him, it's not difficult to counter him, and it takes insane amounts of skill to have mediocre value on this character. Symmetra is a C tier character in today's day and age. When her power got shifted from turrets to right clicks and left clicks, you quickly realize that character is just not as good as she was before. The TP bombs are still there, but not as good as they were. Character is difficult to use, and yeah, she is nice if you would want to teleport your team to the point on control of the point maps, but in reality, very easily counterable, getting outranged, out DPS'd by pretty much every single DPS in the game when it comes to like right clicks versus just pew-pewing. Reaper is realistically a D tier character for sure. You are getting completely outranged, you have very bad duels versus meta characters, and there is just nothing to do on the map, it feels like, with Reaper. Yeah, you can be sneaky, but again, Illari, it takes 3 taps to get you out of the fight for a very long time. It's not like you can collect health packs quickly, it's not like you can disengage to your team, ask for heals, and then come back and it's gonna be efficient and stuff. No, you're just very clunky, and yeah, Reaper is not great. Hanzo is a B tier character. He's pretty nice versus certain heroes such as Ashe, he's nice versus Widow sometimes, he's great versus Bastion, but in reality when these characters are not present, it's quite hard to have any value, as you're just gonna get run down by Zaryas, you're just gonna get completely destroyed by soldiers, as it's quite difficult to hit them. They have very slim hitboxes, like you have problems against Genji, and Illari might be a huge problem as well. Difficult to use, unreliable, inconsistent damage, top of the B tier max. Sojourn is nice, but I would still place her at the top of the B tier. She's great against Orisa, she's great against Sigma, as you can farm your right click relatively fast and then utilize it and try to kill the squishy, especially if you are being mercy pocketed. But in reality, you have horrible 1v1 against Illari, you are horrible versus Zarya, you are horrible versus Junker Queen, as there is no way that you can farm your railgun reliably, and your DPS is not going to be as high as you want it to be, and damage will never be as consistent as it would be on Soldier. Pharah is another C tier character. I feel like she's even weaker than Symmetra, simply because, again, every single time I'm playing against Pharah Mercy as Illari, they are struggling tremendously. It's not difficult to aim at them, it's not difficult to hit them, and the amount of times I sniped Pharah Mercies as Illari is just uncountable, and it is insane. Usually they go Pharah Mercy, I kill them a few times, and then they swap without getting any value whatsoever. And I never lost the game against Pharah Mercy when I'm playing Illari. So yeah, character is bad. Torbjorn is nice, he's still very reliable, and I would place him at the bottom of A tier, as he has a few counters that's pretty difficult to do anything against. It feels like you are... I feel like Torbjorn is just not as good as he was before. So many Ashe players, so many soldiers, so many Genjis, so many Widowmakers, and even Bastion in his third form, if you are not accurate, is going to cause you a lot of problems. There is nothing you can do against Zarya, you're just gonna charge her over and over again, and I feel like Torbjorn is only nice against Orisa, and if you'd go like Sojourn Torbjorn against Orisa, yeah, you can have value, but outside of that, not sure. I feel like Mei is a mid-B tier kind of character, as it requires quite some time in order to understand what you have to do in role compositions. You have to really communicate with your tank to get the value, and it feels like in mid-season 6 of Overwatch 2, you have damage agenda. Everyone needs to have insane amounts of damage on a team if they want to carry the game. With Mei, I highly doubt you can have that number high. And thus, sure, your utility is nice, but nah. And Kree is going to be another character. I feel like she's just low C tier, getting outranged, getting completely destroyed by pretty much every single meta character, very slow, and even though they added 25 HP, there is just nothing to hinder, there is nothing to kill, as you're just basically holding a water gun instead of a real weapon after like a certain amounts of meters. So that's going to be it for today's list. Let me know in the comment section what you think about it. See you in the next one. Take care.